Hello there, men, and welcome to the Masculinism Movement channel, a place for men to be men and talk about masculinity and men's issues. I'm your host, Brian Krall, and today I'm going to be mansplaining to you about how women are social chameleons, a reading from my article on the social personality types, which you can find linked below. But before I begin, could you just hit the like button, because I guarantee you any women who watch this video are going to be hitting the dislike button. You see, females are what are called social chameleons. They can play the same social roles as men, such as alpha and beta and sigma, etc. But they generally exist mainly within the beta and delta categories and are more rare in the other more polarized categories. And the more polarized the categories, the more rare female members become. Now, women are generally not dominant social personality types and thus do not tend to play dominant social roles in society for the most part, but more passive or submissive or subordinate ones. And they are built for the groupthink mentality, which is why they tend to primarily subsist in the more central beta and delta categories. Most women attempt to be beta females who congregate around alpha males and perhaps a lone alpha female, and compete with each other to attempt to gain status and mate with the alpha male without necessarily aspiring to become the alpha female of the group, since most women do not have a desire for social leadership roles. Women's social status, social life, and social skills are largely geared towards social manipulation for the purpose of mating with the highest value possible mate. In fact, 80% of women in society are competing with each other for the top 20% of men. Yes, that means that 80% of women are sigma, alpha, beta, and delta females, and only 20% fall below that. However, in this 80% of females attempting to mate with the alpha males of their chosen groups, the alpha males will generally only mate with approximately the top 40% of women under normal circumstances, right? And not when they're drunk and desperate. So about 60% of women will be rejected from the start and may continue to attempt to compete with other women for the alpha males for a while, but will eventually have to find a beta male or lower to mate with. Or they succeed in mating with the alpha male and will continue to compete with other females in order to continue mating with him and attempt to pair bond with him, which most women will be unsuccessful at and will eventually be rejected by the alpha male after a time of mating due to the loss of novelty, or her losing her looks, or losing the social competition with other women, whatever. And she'll have to settle for a beta male provider if she wishes to successfully pair bond with a man and have offspring. It is most women's goal in life to marry a high-status man and thus become higher status herself, at which point she can nest and amass resources taken from him and build a family. Even in the advent of feminism and these career women, most women still share this goal, and women who do not are exceptions to the rule, especially since a woman who does not procreate is then without lineage to pass on her values to. And so it is family values that are the ones that tend to get passed down from generation to generation. And most girls are taught family values by their mothers, and thus they go on to be suited for motherhood. And even women who are career-oriented types for the first half of their adult life will eventually choose to become mothers as they become older, before it gets too late. And they will almost always choose a mate based upon his status. The higher his status, the more attractive he is to her because of his ability to provide resources for her and her young. So because they are nature's designated childbearers, the women's primary occupation is not their career, but courtship. And they are hypergamous, which means that they generally do not mate with those who are of the same social class and status, or at least they don't try to, and will compete with other females in order to be able to mate with men who are higher than them in the social hierarchy. They will only settle for someone who is of relatively equal status after some time of failing to pair bond with a higher status alpha male, and even then, though the male they settle for may be closer to her socially, she will still have to be dating up in some way in order to pair with him, such as a lower status beta female dating another beta male of her group who is of measurably higher status than her, in that he makes at least somewhat significantly more money than her and is noticeably better looking than her. So by this model, alpha females mate with the highest status alpha males and sigma males. Beta females mate with alpha males, sigma males, and when they cannot do so, then the highest status beta males. Delta females mate with the highest status delta males, beta males, and perhaps once in a while a low status alpha male or sigma male if for some reason he doesn't have any other options at the time. Gamma females mate with the highest status gamma males and perhaps some low status alpha males, but will generally avoid delta and beta males because gammas are nonconformists and deltas and betas are conformists. However, in many cases, they may be able to find some sigma males who appreciate her outspoken alternative style and ways. And omega females, who are very rare, mate with the highest omegas, gamma, and delta males, though they may, in some cases, shoot for the lowest status beta males and even get one from time to time. And zeta females, which are the rare exception, don't mate with anyone, no matter how high status they are. Through this hypergamous mating strategy, females are capable of moving up the social hierarchy in social climbing from one social group to another, and can socially adapt like a chameleon over time, changing not only their social class, but behaviors and even their personality type as well, which is much more difficult for men to do, but comes to women naturally because they are neurologically wired for it. So for instance, a strong omega female, such as a nerdy girl who recently graduated with good grades and has a bright future, but who only has her nerdy group of friends that she would study with and wants to succeed socially as well as academically and professionally, may do so by seducing a beta male and beginning to date him and becoming the beta female of his group. Then she'll begin competing with the females of his group for status as the alpha female. And in the process, her status in the group will slowly but surely rise over time. Eventually, after exhibiting her strength and competitive edge to the alpha male, he will show her favor and she will start seducing and courting him. If she can keep her competitive edge over the alpha female, she will be able to begin mating with him and then can become an alpha female of that group. After not pair bonding with the alpha male of that group and growing accustomed to her alpha female status, she will eventually seduce and mate with a sigma male she has noticed traversing the social environment. This sigma was her ultimate goal all along, who she will then attempt to pair bond with. And as she does, he will help her to change her social environment and hierarchy altogether to another higher one in which she will have even higher status and a better life than before. She may have started out somewhere average like Cincinnati, but now she's living the high life in the, Upper West Side of Manhattan, where she can really flourish, simply relying upon him providing for her. This is an ideal scenario not only for her, but her future offspring that her hypergamy is also meant to provide a future for. And this is how it is accomplished. However, with this mating strategy, since women are always trying to mate and pair bond with men who are above them and their superiors, the men they set their sights on are oftentimes out of their league, the official phrase for someone being too many classes above you, and thus they are doomed to fail to get the men they want most ultimately. Therein they will have to either settle for an equal, God forbid, or exhaust their efforts in the social competition and end up losing their status and becoming delta females, often with offspring that they must raise alone or find a lower status provider male for, even if they do not really favor him. When a female mates, it is generally her ultimate goal to pair bond with the man and produce offspring and get taken care of. And when she produces offspring, it becomes her life purpose to provide and care for her young, and to gain her mate's support in providing and caring for her young, which is why most females end up pair bonding with beta male providers, since they are the best suited for these kind of relationships and they can provide stable families with them. And they are also of relatively high enough status, for the aging single mother. But it is the propensity of the female social animal to always attempt to pair bond with the alpha male or sigma male first. And thus, in many instances, she is left with offspring from this, since women often use mating and reproduction as part of their pair bonding effort. But this does not actually usually cause pair bonding in alpha males and sigma males, but only in beta males and lower. So single mothers left with offspring from alpha and sigma males must then go out and seek beta male providers who will provide for her and her offspring in exchange for mating rights with her, which is more difficult to do with another male's offspring. And if this woman does not have enough sexual marketplace value, or SMV as it's called, she can end up failing to maintain her place in her social hierarchy, as all of her efforts go towards trying to provide for her children, and she will drop towards the bottom of it and become an omega or even a zeta female, as many divorced single mothers in their 40s and 50s tend to do. Females professionally are most suited for the same types of jobs as beta and delta males as well, or the jobs of whatever category they are in, with the exclusion of labor-intensive jobs and the tech industry, and favoring social work and caregiving roles such as counseling, nursing, teaching, or daycare providing. They can succeed in business when adapting more masculine traits, but usually do not ascend too high on the corporate ladder or end up in leadership positions, and will usually have opted out of the workforce before the age of 40 in order to focus on child rearing. Females have the most social mobility and opportunities for social climbing, but they possess the least amount of social responsibility, which is why most of them never live up to their full potential. Though due to social welfare and support afforded to women in modern society, most of them never fall too low on the social hierarchy and never will end up homeless like a man like me can and has before. And when unemployed, they tend to get taken care of by others. But therein lies their problem, that they are so dependent upon others, especially men. Hence, women tend to always stay within the center of the social hierarchy, between beta and delta level, for their entire lives, despite their high level of social mobility and the ability for most any of them to become the fabled sigma female with the right amount of effort, because they are these social chameleons. So that concludes this talk, which again has been an excerpt from my article on the social personality types, which you can read linked below. I hope I mansplained that well enough for you guys out there. Thanks for listening, and be sure to share your own thoughts and opinions by commenting below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and share these messages with everyone by sharing the video on social media and talking about these things too. And lastly, check out the links in the description below for other resources for your masculine personal development and living the life you want to as an independent man. And if you can afford to donate, please do so with the PayPal link below, because your support funds me doing this work and fighting the good fight for men like you. And you can stay tuned for the next video coming out soon, which will be on female seduction. And make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified when that is. And until then, take care of yourselves, men, because no woman out there is going to.